Hey guys, how's it going? It's Bed here, hope you're all well. I just wanted to say a big thanks really to everyone who's watched my recent cover of Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. If you thumbed it up, left me a comment, it's wicked. So I figured I'd follow it up with a lesson and show you exactly how I do it, and obviously my kind of spin on the solo. I've kept a few of the iconic riffs in there, but most of it is me just winging it on the fly. I am going to do that more with the covers that I do. I want to make the channel a little bit more about my playing. Sounds kind of self-indulgent, but it is my channel. I can do what I want. No, I'm just joking. The amount of times I sit here and the crap that comes out of my mouth and I just cut it all out, but I might leave that one in. Literally, there's like 50 outtakes every time I just do an intro. Anyway, if you like these videos, please like, subscribe, drop a comment, share them with your friends. If there's anything you'd like me to do, let me know and I'll get on it. Remember, the tabs and the backing tracks are available for this on my Patreon. If you want them, head over there. I was also thinking about doing like just mini series of like 5 cool blues licks. You know, a lot of people out there just do their own little mini lessons rather than teaching songs. If that's something that you'd like me to do, let me know, because I do that all the time in my private lessons. You know, it's not just song after song after song. I have techniques and improvise and scales, things like that. If you'd find that of interest, let me know, because I might put together a mini series. I'm going to start with an A power chord, first finger on the 2nd fret of the D and the open A, upstroke both strings at the same time. Then we're going to go to the 4th fret of the A, single note with the 3rd finger, and then back to that power chord. Up, down, up. Then we're going to put our 4th finger on the 5th fret of the D. We're going to hit the A and the 5 at the same time. Okay. Then we're going to take that 4th finger off and go back to the A power chord. So after you've done the 5, 2, then you're going to go 3rd finger on the 4 on the D. Now we're going to go to the 3rd fret of the A with the 2nd finger. We're going to play that, and I give it a tiny little cheeky pull, just like that, suggestive. It's worth noting that to keep the picking fluent, I snap a little upstroke into that 3rd fret. And then you kind of do like a fake pass with the right hand, because we're not playing like an 8th note. So my next stroke is going to be another up, if that makes sense. And it's on that A5 power chord again. So it was an up, bend on the 3, and then an up on the A power chord again. You see that? So after the bend on the 3, back to that A on the upstroke like I said. And then we're going to alternate between the 2 and the 4, but hitting both the A and the D strings. 2, 4, 2. And then you're going to go 2, 2, 4, 2. So the first one was 2, 4, 2. Went up, down, up. And then it goes 2, 2, 4, 2. Down, up, down, up. Altogether you've got this from the bend. That riff altogether should sound like this. A little bit faster. The reason I do it like that is because I feel like I get the most fluency and consistency out of hitting both strings. With all downstrokes you get the aggression, but I don't know, it doesn't sound like it's got the fluency that the track has. If you know what I mean. To do the D riff, you literally move everything up one string. And to do the E riff, you move everything down from the A, one string. You've got 2 cycles of the A riff, move up to the D, back down to the A, down to 1 on the E, and then back to the A. I actually change from each chord on the upstroke, so you get that extra last downstroke of the previous chord going into the next bar. So if you listen carefully from A to D, for example, it'll sound like this. I actually did it going back to A there as well, so you could get to grips with it. If you just loop around the A riff at first, it should make sense then when you change to the D and the E. So we're going to start on the 11th fret of the D and the 12th fret of the G. I go 2nd and 3rd fingers because they're strong. So when we slide back 1 fret, I can give it some vibrato. Now that first shape happens whilst we're playing the tail end of the A riff, just before it moves to the D. And if you look at these 2 notes here, if I play them with my 3rd and 1st finger, and I put that 2nd finger on the 12 on the A, you actually get an A7 shape. So if you know the C7 chord here, we move that all the way up to the A. It's come from an A7. You think, well, when we move that back, how does that chord work with the D? Well, it's actually 2 notes taken from a D7 bar chord. So it's a shape change, but we can still use the same 2 notes. Similarly, when we move it up from the 11-12 to the 12-13, that's taken from the E7 bar chord shape, which is when the riff drops down to an E. Hopefully that makes sense to you. It's the same shape, 2 notes. Just moving back a semitone and then up. But basically it's a mini A7, D7, E7. I just wanted to quickly explain that because you might just think it's random notes, but you get a little glimpse into the way Jimmy Page thinks. So we start on the 11-12, going down, up, move back a fret, down. And do the same rhythm again, but move back up a fret. And then up a fret again. And then down a fret. And that comes in the middle of these riffs. So the first time you just play the A riff in full. On the second repeat, after you bend, you have that 2-4-2. Now where the 2-2-4-2-2 went, that's where we're going to do the riff. So 2-4-2. And that allows you to then quickly jump to the D riff, where you finished, back up to the A, where you finished but up to the E this time, where you finished, and then back down to the A. Leading you into the verse. First of all, I'll show you the riff, and then I'll show you where it comes in the song. Start on an upstroke on the open E, then hit the 2nd fret with the index finger on a down and pull off to the open again. Then move to the 3rd fret of the A with the 2nd finger, and then do the same thing again on the E. Then I hit a down on the 3rd fret of the E with the 2nd finger. And I do that A5 power chord, but this time I hit the A, the 2nd fret of the D and the G, and I do it on an upstroke, giving that 3rd fret of the E a little bend. So in terms of where that comes in, when you play your A riff, after that bend on the 3rd fret, you go to that riff. This first bit I've shown you here is actually the start of the verse, so we'll get into that now. If you've already got this technique down, then you've already got the sort of foundations for playing the verse. You're just going to repeat it more times. So you've just got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And on that 4th repeat, I'm going to hit it twice, okay? 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And you do that twice in a row. It's doing the same chord changes here. It's going from A to D, back to A and then to E. But we just need to change the shape slightly this time. So we're still going to bend the 3rd fret of the A when it moves up. But the D shape is obviously going to be the 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G and the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B. Hitting that with the open D. Exactly the same method, but we've had to change this shape obviously. Then it goes back to the A. And then when it goes to the E, there's 2 different things that I do. The first one is this. And the other one is this. And I put them on 2 different takes. Let's do the easier one first. So we're going to take a power chord on the 7th fret of the A. So that's 7 and 9, A and D. And that's an E power chord. We're going to make sure that the 4th finger can stretch into the 11 on the D. And what you're going to do is down, up on those 2. Little finger going down to the 11. And then straight off for an upstroke. So you're going to do that 4 times in total and then quickly move it back to the 5th fret for 1 staccato stab on the D power chord. A little bit faster. I use my 4th finger a lot of the time when I'm just doing 2-note power chords because it's more comfortable, so I might shift to the 4th finger there. Something that you could do as well if you wanted. The lower one, which I think is worth learning as well, is more comparable to this riff. It's got that kind of thing going on. Start with the 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A and hit the open E with it. 3rd finger going to the 4 and then back to the 2. So just like this, but in open position. And then you do that again. So it's twice in a row. Then we're going to go to the 5th fret of the A with the 4th finger. And then back to the 2, and then the 4 on the A and back to the 2. So all together. Then I do this cool riff. So what that is the 2nd finger going to the 3rd fret of the low E, then the 4th fret with the 3rd finger. Then I try to hit just the A and the D, both on the 2nd fret with a flat bar. Then a quick open E. So that was all alternate. And then I move up to that D5 power chord that I showed you before. And I'm going to quickly strum down, and I use my right hand to just mute the strings. all together. Up to speed. If you're playing this in a band, there's two guitarists, one can take the high, one can take the low. It's going to give you a great spread sound on stage. Another cool thing you'll hear him chuck in is this. And that's the slightly fuller A7 that I was talking about before. And it happens every time we've done. When it goes back to your main riff, it jumps halfway through and does the A7 chord. So that's 12 on the A with the second finger, 11 on the D index, and then 12 on the G third finger. And I go down, down, up, down. Bit of vibrato and a slide down, and then you can go back to your verse. One more iconic little riff before we talk about the solo, which is this. And again, that's going to come in halfway through one of these. I don't really mind that it gets messy there, because it's not the easiest thing to do when you're trying to, you know, play with power and emotion and feeling. So if you hear a few little open strings, it's rock and roll, it's the name of the song, it's fine. We're going to start with a double stop on the 5th fret of the G and the B, and I do 2 upstrokes. Now at first that might be quite difficult, because you might find yourself hitting the high E. You don't want to do that. The angle of my finger kind of slopes like that, so that I mute the high E, but I still get the B and the G. So you want to experiment with that string muting, keep things tidy. 2 upstrokes, and then this is dead simple. We're going to hit the D fret 7 with the 3rd finger, and then go back to the 5 and the 7. Just alternate them. And I go down, up, down, up, down. And you notice there I'm digging in quite a lot. I'm hitting more than just one string, which is giving me that percussive element to the song. But because of the muting, I'm keeping things tidy, but it's still got energy. I play that way because I think I've listened to Jimmy a lot, so whenever I'm playing solos, I tend to I dig into things like that, but I'm string muting down here, so you should experiment. Sorry, getting sidetracked there. But yeah, that riff is going to interrupt this riff every time. So after the 3rd fret bend, like before when we did this, we're now going to do this instead. Okay? When it moves to D, the same. And then halfway through there you can What I've done for this solo is basically absolutely wing it when I did the cover. So it's definitely my spin on the solo, but I've kept some of the iconic phrases in there, the most important ones. Don't forget you can get the full tab and backing track on my Patreon. I start with this hammer-on pull-off lick. It's fast, but it's cool. start with the 3rd fret on the low E, 2nd finger, and then you're going to hit open A and then hammer on pull off to the 3rd fret. And then you're just going to do that over and over again. I go down then up, so I've got this alternate picking going. And if you can just keep cycling that round, and get it as fast as you possibly can. Not as fast as you possibly can, as fast as you need to do it within the song. There's also no harm in going faster, just to, you know, improve your technique. So if you come in a little bit earlier like it does on the record, you're probably going to do like 10 repeats, but if you come in exactly where the solo comes in, you're going to do it 8 times. And you're going to finish on that upstroke on the A. So this is the next riff that I did. I'm going to start with the 2nd and 3rd fingers going 3, 4 on the A string, then up to the 2nd fret of the G, which is the note A. You can do that again. 3rd finger to the 4th fret of the G, and then 2nd finger to the 4th fret of the D, back to that A, 2nd on the G. Then we're going to go to 5 on the G with the 4th finger, 4 on the D again, this time it will be 3rd finger, and then to finish we're going to go 2, 5, 2 on the G. And we're going to resolve on that A note. Now I do something which is completely comparable to that first fast lick I showed you, but we're going to be doing fretted notes every time now. So 4th fret of the D, and then 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G is going to hammer on pull off to the 5 on the G. Down, up, picking again. So it's exactly like going, but now we're changing the notes to. And you're going to repeat it the same amount of times and stop in the same place. So that'll be an upstroke on the G. Those 3 together sound like this. So this next little lick that I do, I've lifted that straight out of the custard pie solo just because it kind of came out when I was playing. So we bend the 7th fret of the G up, and then we go 5, 5 on the B, then the E. Down, down, up, works well there. It's a flat 1st finger. We're going to bend the 7 up again, pull it down, and then pull off to the 5. Flat 3rd finger is then going to go 7 on the D, then the G, and back to the D. It's cool. After this, the next lick is actually from the song. It's that chromatic climb that he does. It's actually quite a fiddly lick to do, but once you get the hang of it, it's really cool. You're going to start with a 5 on the B, 1st finger, hammer on pull off to the 8 with the 4th finger, and then hit the 7 on the G. And then you're just going to move that up a fret. So that's 6 and 9, finishing on the 8, 7 and 10, finishing on the 9, and then 8 and 11, finishing on the 10. There'll be a temptation to kind of move too soon and you'll end up hitting the wrong last note. So my advice is go slow and get it right before you try and go fast and move it up. again, this is one of my licks now, but it's supposed to sound like Jimmy. So I bend the 13th fret of the B up a whole tone twice. And then I let it down. And I come back to the 10 on the B. And back to the 13. And then we're going to chromatically go up from the 10 on the E to the 12 via the 11. Little blues lick. Yeah, so. Back to the 10 on the B, which is again the A note we're resolving. This is the next lick that I do. So a little slide into the 11th fret of the G with the second finger, and then to the 10 on the B, and you're going to go back and forth, but you're going to hit that 10 at the end twice. So we're then going to go to the 12th fret of the high E with the fourth finger, because we're going to bend the 12th fret of the B with the third finger up and down. As we do that, we pull off to the 10, and then I pick the 12 and the 10 and go back and forth twice. Hit the 12 again briefly. Quick bend up on the 12, but don't let it down. And then hit the 10 twice. So it got a little bit more staccato at the end of that. Then going to move up to the 15th fret of the E with the fourth finger, and the 15th fret of the B with the third finger. Bend that B up 5 times. That rhythm. Then we've got this riff. So it's 13 on the B, 15 on the B, back and forth. Then we hit the 15, bend it up, but it's this kind of swooping bend where you hear the 15 first. Then the 13. And then resolve on the A again, 14th fret of the G. That's lifted from the song. Next riff is this. Gives you a little teaser of the massive one that comes next. Also kind of shows you why I was doing and this kind of thing, because that's how I play that riff. There's loads of people who do it differently. This is just my spin on it. So I hit the 7 on the G, and then I'm doing a 5-8 hammer-on pull-off on the B with the first and the fourth finger. So if you've got this down, you should be able to move that skill set to here now. So when we first play this riff, we're going to cut it short. It's a little teaser, still ending on that upstroke on the B string. And then we're going to move to the 8th fret of the high E, bend that up quickly, whole step, and then down, and then hit the 5. Then I hit the 5 on the B, 8 on the B, and back. And then to finish the solo, you're literally going to do that same riff again, but for the duration of the break. At the end, I resolved by hitting the 7 on the G, 5, and then the 7 on the D, which is the note A. Sometimes I kind of catch that open a little bit with it, which gives it a little bit of a low end thump. So that last bit, see if I can play it in full for you at full speed. All right, wicked job guys. Hope you enjoyed learning that tune with me. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell next to it so you get a notification when I upload so you don't miss anything, and I shall see you in the next video.